Hello guys, welcome back to another Prime Tennis YouTube video. This week we're looking at Roger Federer. Um, so for this week, what I want to take a look at is rhythm, right? Rhythm is very important in tennis. Rhythm, routines, there are so many ways that you can talk about rhythm. So many different ways that you can apply it in tennis. But we're going to take a look at Roger here, see how he plays. It's especially important in the movement, as I'll show you, and you'll kind of get a feel and understanding for it, and hopefully you can apply it to your own game. Hopefully I can help you to understand. So let's get into it. This is Indian Wells 2010, round 3. So what I'm looking for mostly are longer rallies, because that's when you'll see it the most. The thing with rhythm is, in tennis, is it's a little weird because it's not like, the ball is coming at you the same every time. But what you typically want to try to do is you want to move the same way for every ball, right? For every shot. Take the same amount of steps, take the same amount of time. That gives you rhythm. Because your opponent is doing everything they can to make sure you don't find your rhythm, you don't find your steps, to make sure that you're not getting the same ball 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row, then you'll never get your rhythm. But there are things that you can do to help with that. You won't be able to take the same amount of steps for every shot, but you can try and move the same way, right? So you see here with Federer, you see different players move differently, right? Like I remember I was watching Iga the other day. She takes so many steps, before she hits every ball. And like that's amazing, and it works for Federer. He takes not as many steps sometimes, right? So after this serve, every time he serves or returns, he goes straight to a super wide base, and then he kind of hops, right? So there's the wide base with the split step, right? But then he takes like these hops. He doesn't like chop his feet, move his feet one step at a time, right? He moves them together, basically. So he serves, hops around the ball, hits it. He's coming to the net, and he kind of has to run for that approach shot. But you'll see he does that hop thing a lot. A lot of approaching. I guess maybe that's his strategy against this guy. If I can see it again. Like you see here, this step here, after this shot right here that he's about to take, for me, that's what I see as rhythm, right? Because he can do that every time to get to his spot. Just this little step there from here to here, that little kind of hop, right? He hits this ball, he takes that little hop step before he split steps, right? To me, that's rhythm. You see Iga play, and you'll see her, chop her feet. She'll take like, I don't know, 3, 4 split steps, and then she'll go, right? For Federer, it's just that little hop, right? Hits the ball, hop, hits the ball, hop, right? For him, that's what it is. And you see after he hits the ball, this one's more intense. But that cadence with the shot that he's comfortable with after this serve, hits this serve +1, and then this shot that he gets, it's a very comfortable shot for him. That shot is like his ideal kind of pace. And so the movement that he has here, for me, that's what I see as his rhythm, right? So he goes, he hits this ball, he hops to the left, steps his right foot in front, takes a little stutter step there, and then he plants his foot down and lets it rip, right? And then, he kind of does the same thing here. Let's see. Maybe he's taking the same amount of steps here, like I was saying before, right? So he goes, takes like one step, a little stutter step to adjust, right? Splits, does the hop, and then steps. That's the hop and the step. That's what he's been doing. He recovers, split, little hop, super small because the ball was quick. And then he plants his foot down. And so, like, that's what I mean. Like, he's trying to take the same amount of steps every time, right? Trying to keep his rhythm with his feet. There you go. And it keeps you, like, consistent. For me, when I'm playing, I feel like it keeps me focused, something that I can consistently rely on to, like, get me back in my groove. And when you know, like, what helps you to stay in your rhythm with your footwork and with your hands, that's something that you can rely on when you're struggling with consistency, because it just gets you back in your groove. And, it's also very important, like you'll see with the return. Okay, this little chip that he does. Oh, that's a nice point. It's a good serve +1. There's a lot of volleying in this match. It's very hard for me to show what I want. But if I find it here, I'll tell you. Maybe this guy does it here. So here you see, this isn't really rhythm. It's, to me, more of routine, but it helps set the pace, right? So everyone's different, but this guy, you see, he starts here, kind of standing up a little bit straight, right? But it's still athletic position. He takes 2 giant steps forward, takes a huge giant split step, and then returns, right? I guess so 1 step, and then a huge split step, and then he returns, right? And that kind of sets the pace for him. It sets the rhythm. He splits, goes, and he's in his movement, right? And that kind of sets the pace and the rhythm for him, right? So when you start, that's, the rhythm. It starts from the very beginning, from the serve. After you serve, the way you set your feet up, right? So Roger here, he serves, brings his right foot in front, pushes back, then splits and goes, right? So that's something that he tries to do every time. And then if we look at this guy here, for his return, he still takes that same large step, same foot, same large step into the court, big split, and then goes every single time, right? And that helps build his rhythm, right? And it keeps you moving. That's one of the most important things. Like, you look at this shot here, he returns it here, but it's like a forehand block, right? So Roger's gonna be on offense, right? Roger puts the ball like over here in this area, but you see, this guy, since the return, didn't stop moving. Go, split, 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 and then goes, takes off. When you have a rhythm, it keeps you fluid, it keeps you in motion, and it lets you get to shots like that. He didn't win the point, but he was able to get to that first shot, right? That Roger hit wide. And you never want to stop moving, and rhythm, it's what helps you do that, because when you stop moving, then you get stuck. So when you see people just freeze, when their opponent hits a winner, you rarely ever see that in the pros, right? But I see it in amateurs where their opponent just hits a winner and like, wow, there's nothing I can do there. But you see like the shot here with Roger. There was no way he was getting to this shot, but because he is constantly moving, he can at least react and at least give himself a chance. And he got close because of that. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, to like, subscribe. Genius at work. Yeah, he's a genius for sure. If only he was still playing. I love watching him play. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. You know, I noticed a few things too that I'll be able to implement into my game. Um, but I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace out.